Hey, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of AngularAir. I'm your host, Justin, and on today's episode, we are going to be looking at yet another repo that is an example app built in Angular. It's pretty amazing. Our same guest as before that built a previous one that we had a discussion on. We're going to check this one out. This one's going to be based on Spotify. Should be pretty cool. So let's say hi to our panelists, then we'll meet our guest and we'll get into the content. Joining us today, we've got Mike with us. Mike, what's going on?
Not too much. I haven't been here in forever. I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in a hot minute, but it's been a while. It's been like a month or so. I miss it.
It has. Missed a couple episodes, and then we didn't have an episode last week. So, but you're here now, so we're super excited.
Let's live in the now. I love it.
There you go. Can't change the past, right? I just gotta keep moving forward. And we're here together. Cool. Bonnie's with us. Bonnie, what's going on?
Hola, Nada. How are you doing? Happy Friday. Good to see you, Mike.
Happy Friday.
Good to see you, Justin. And Alyssa is coming, by the way, in case anybody's worried. She is on her way. We have confirmation. I think she's working. Like,
busy.
She has other things to do besides hang out with us. She'll be here, though.
Sure. As soon as she comes, we'll greet her and we'll put everything on pause and say, hey. So should be good. Cool. Hey, Bonnie, you want to do some additional introductions?
Yeah, so I actually invited a guest panelist. I was like, hey, Justin, can we sneak in an extra guest panelist? And he was like, yeah, because so this is like related. I was telling Justin before the show started, I tried to introduce these two because I was like, oh, you know who you would really like? And then like they're already friends. So they were like, Bonnie, it's fine. So I want to introduce, and also, so I invited him because I wanted him to heckle our guest. But also, he's kind of a badass in his own right, so I want you guys to meet him as well. So I'm going to start out with Chow, and it just I haven't known Chow very long, but he's really cool. So Chow, can you test? Chow, by the way, is a brand new Angular GDE, is a brand new dad. He's super smart, super cool. He's doing like all kinds of. Anyway, Chow, tell us what you're up to, because I know you're on a bunch of open source projects. He's just cool. Like, he's cool on multiple levels, y'all. I'm just letting you know.
I can play yo-yo too.
So show us. He's not kidding. Show us. Just for a second.
All right. I'm gonna have to take off my headphones.
Okay.
Play what?
And let me adjust this a little bit. Right, so that's home.
Ooh.
Oops.
That's so cool.
That's so cool.
Nice. That's awesome. That is awesome.
We also have Fergus Gallagher in the chat, who is also available for heckling. So that's good. So Chow, can you help us tell us about our guest today? Because I think you could probably introduce him better than any of us.
Yes. So we have our guest today is Trung, and you guys probably know him from AngularGR clone. He's blowing up on Twitter. He's blowing the Angular team's mind, and he's working in Singapore right now. Even though he's working with React technology right now, but he still loves Angular so much that he spends a lot of time on this project that he's going to show us today. So everybody, Miss Trung.
We had Mark Thompson at Angular Nation a week or two ago, and I don't even remember. It was a couple weeks ago maybe, but he saw Trung and he was like, yeah, the Angular team was talking about your project and they really like it. And I'm like, the Angular team was talking about him and they love it. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you. Awesome. So my turn now.
So how did you feel about that, Trung?
I was a bit surprised. I mean, I was not very used to compliment a lot. So, okay, I'll take it. Of course, I get it and I take it then. But yeah, it was very surprising. And I was also happy, of course, when my work was being recognized by the Angular team. Yeah, obviously.
We knew you before you were famous.
Thanks, Bonnie. We know each other before that.
I think you're great. I was actually really not surprised at all that they were looking at your work, because it's really, I mean, it's so cool to show. And I don't want to spoil it because you're going to show us, right? So you were already here and you showed us, you just kind of walked us through this app that you built. And I think it's just a really great example for other people to like look at your code, because it's working code, and then you just share it and people can use it. And then you came out with something else that I didn't even know you were working on, and it was like, oh, that's cool. So then here you are again.
Yeah, sure. So we start now, or?
I think so. Hey, is there anything that we missed when we introduced Chow? And Chow, you didn't mention this thing that you were working on, because I want to get you on the calendar too.
Yeah, we forgot. So hi everyone. My name is Chow. I'm working for a company, a security and automation company called Swimland. We have a lot of open source projects, and I know I think Marian and Austin was on AngularAir.
Austin McDaniel, you know Austin McDaniel?
I don't. I joined. I think he left before I joined. So
we know Austin McDaniel.
And I have a couple of open source projects on the side as well. Probably right now, I'm most known for the Tailwind schematics for Angular with Nginx team. And right now, I'm working on a different open source project that is a 3JS integration with Angular. So you can use the Angular template to write 3JS scene declaratively. So, and that's all about
that's
me.
what you're going to come and do a demo for us, right?
Yes.
Well, those are two different things. So you're going to come on twice, right?
Twice, right? Two shows?
Tailwind.
I'm okay with that.
Tailwind.
This is what happened with Trung too. Don't worry. This is normal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, like Tailwind CSS has been talked about a lot, so I don't really know what to share, but I can get into like some very nook and cranny corner of using Tailwinds in Angular.
Did I miss one of our shows on Tailwind, or have we not yet talked about Tailwind here on AngularAir?
Trung mentioned Tailwind, I think, when he was here, because I think that he had used it in his Jira project, but it wasn't about Tailwind. It was just like, oh, by the way, this is Tailwind. And we were like, wait, what? That was cool. And so that was like our first glimpse of it. And yeah, I believe, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I was just I mentioned about Tailwind, but of course it's just like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something.
It was a footnote.
Yeah,
It was not enough.
It was a teaser to the episode that we're going to have sometime in the near future.
I like it.
Yeah. And Tailwind is like very controversial. People it's like my dad. They either love him or they hate him. People either really, really, really love Tailwind or they don't like it. So it's really
there's a third category.
What is that?
That they
haven't tried it yet.
They don't know.
They don't
yet.
even know about it yet. Yeah. So it would be cool to see it, and it would be cool for Chow to show it to us. But I have to say, because I have seen it, I really want to see this 3JS thing that he's working on, because I've seen like GIFs. I've seen like a little. It looks really good. Not that Tailwind doesn't look cool, because it does, but this is like cool. But let's not get all mushy.
Or ahead of ourselves. We'll book that. We'll book
I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
I just get excited, you guys.
Totally.
Okay, so let's focus. Let's get down to business. Trung?
Okay, sure. I'll just share my screen real quick, and then we get started then.
It's time.
Sounds good.
It's time.
Sounds good.
Let's do it. I'll click the screen. Then I'll click share, and Justin, can you? Oh, okay, it's on.
I got you. We're ready.
Right. So let's do it, guys. So the title is saying everything is another 1,000 repository. Why is this title? Because there's someone have suggest me to do this title, which is wearing the hat in our talk today, which is Cho. He suggested me to do this title. Yeah, just for a side note. So yeah, but actually, reality is also got actually 1,000 sound, but it is not the most important part. The important part is the client, the Spotify client built with Angular. So let's talk about it. It's me again. I'm still with the Codify, and we're still doing a crypto business, and we're trying to do it very transparent for users. So, if you feel like you wanted to earn some cash flow with crypto, feel free to explore our product, which is codify.com. And as a side note, I just started the Angular Singapore that Bonnie also mentioned in the previous pick. That was, oh wow, it's so surprising. But thanks Bonnie for Sawa. And besides Singapore, I do a bit of Angular Vietnam. But the main person who doing Angular Vietnam is also the one who wearing the hat today. And about Singapore a bit. I just started like a few months ago. We had monthly meetup every first Tuesday, and we trying to do some kind of content and grow the community in Singapore. You can always book a meeting with Angular Singapore, and we can talk about any problem that you're facing. It is free. Feel free to do it. And Angular Vietnam is the same. We growing to 16K member now, which is, I remember, I forgot what did we talk last time? It's like what, 15? No, 13. So now after a few months, we have another 3K. There's a lot of members. We also create a lot of pressure for the community leader like Joe. So we try to see how we do it, like take it from there in the future. So yeah, we have Tailwind was the founder, and we're still having the 100th day of Angular like we mentioned last year. And it's supposed to finish last year, but sorry, we are all busy with other projects. So we are gonna talk about Spotify today, and why another, like in a way, a clone app. And we will go into a bit detail into the monorepo and Engage workspace, because this is something I didn't see a lot of people were talking about. So also someone is suggesting me to focus on this part a little bit more than the other part. And we go into some principle that I was trying to apply for this Spotify client, and some integration flow with Spotify API, and close to the hour we will have some cherry on the cake feature. And if we have more time, of course Q&A and the rest. So let's do it then. The Spotify is the same thing. I was trying to put a lot of technology which sound catchy. So it's just a first impression. So it is built with Angular 11. I try to upgrade to 12 in the next few days when it's released. And the one thing I was trying was Engage workspace, and the rest was MGIs and Tailwind, and everything was we trying before. So let's look into it in the browser, what it is. So
now, when you came on before and we talked about your Jira clone, one of the things that's interesting is your Jira clone was like kind of, you built everything along with the data source and everything like this. But with Spotify, are you hitting Spotify for the data?
Oh yes, so I'll just integrate with Spotify. Yeah. So when you hit the URL, which is the one that I deployed to Netlify, the first thing when you haven't done the like approval for accessing your data, it will just ask you for access to data. And what you can do is just do agree, and by that it will give you to the Spotify homepage, and all of that data is like, it actually your data on Spotify. I'll just take it from Spotify API and render it on the UI. The time when I was starting it, I was following the web player of Spotify, and at that time was like, what's it, like a month ago or 2 months ago? The web version and the desktop version was still a bit different, and then eventually in like end of April or something, they released it like, so the web and the desktop now is exactly very similar, and it exactly looked like the Angular Spotify. Yeah, so I was following the right track, I hope. Yeah, so the rest of the stuff was very similar. You can click into a playlist, you can play it. All of that is done with Spotify. I think one of the most exciting thing that I was decided to build this is that I wanted to have the visualization and to bring the feeling of Windows Media Player back. And I think it's just one of the most important feature that I decided to build, which at the end is pretty simple. And it's like there's a function which take in a number, and then you just blinking based on that number.
Now, is this something that Spotify has in their UI, or is this something that you just decided to add to do that Windows Media Player experience?
On Spotify, they don't have it. So yeah,
Gotcha, okay.
I would say it is
Nice.
something that I put in. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. You playing media through there, and then you do this visualization as the music's playing. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice thing. Yeah, and another thing is just another. Okay, I'll just show some cherry on top. So when you play a track, I'm not sure if it's easy to look here, but maybe just do it with some kind of some playlist which is a bit catchy. Then let's look into look, where is it? Okay, whatever. When you play a song, okay, you can see the background, the color. That's not the same for each song. So what I did was like I'll just take the photo, the album cover, and then take a blurry version of it, and then just do it in the full width of the screen side. And for each song, you will have a bit of effect on the background, which is, I think, is quite unique for each song. Yeah, just saying. But it is not the most important part that we are talking today. Yeah. And yeah, I think with that, it is more of the feature of Spotify. That's it. It connects to Spotify API. It can play a song. It can play a visualization. It can change the background. And yeah, pretty much. There's a lot of API that I can do more, like add the song to the playlist. Like all of this manipulation stuff we can also do. But it just need to ask the user for additional permission, and you can just call the API, and that's it.
So just to give some context for our viewers, and so the ones that maybe watched the previous episode that we had where you did the Jira clone or not, and kind of the cool thing about this is like the Jira clone provided this experience of building kind of like this enterprise type of application with Angular and all these fundamentals under the hood for working with the data and doing the display, all the things that you illustrated and showed in there. And then this is like the next step up from there, like the things you're talking about. It's like all of that stuff combined with these other ways to do things in Angular to accomplish things like the media, visualization, the thing that you just talked about with the background color and things like, so it's like pulling even more features that we can look at as examples of what we might need to do in our Angular apps and see examples of how that's done right in here, which is awesome.
Thanks, thank you. And it's pretty much, okay, yeah, more detail. Let me come back to the slide. We will look into it a bit further. So yeah, all of that. Oh, important. You need to have Spotify Premium so that you can play the music. I forgot to mention it because I was integrating with the service called Web Playback SDK, and it specialized. It requires to have Premium. So I have nothing to do with it. I just cannot do anything about it. Sorry, guys. Maybe you just do a month of Spotify and then try it out. So yeah, that's always the reason to start a project. And for Spotify, I also has some reason to start building it. So the first one is like just a question: have you ever seen any like luxury completed Spotify kind of build with Angular? I mean, I saw it with React. I saw one with Vue.js, but I never seen with Angular, to be honest. So yeah, maybe it is something that never exists. Like maybe like there are people doing it, but they never show it. But yeah, at least I haven't seen it on GitHub. So that's the first reason. And the same like Justin just mentioned. Maybe when you look into the app and you will have some kind of idea how an Angular app is gonna look in the real app. A to-do list is gonna good when you start to know Angular, but when you start to building an app, it is not going to be just a simple to-do list anymore. It's going to be a bit more difficult. It's going to be some kind of business logic. It's going to be flow between. So yeah, Angular Spotify, I hope it's going to be an example so that you can just look into it and maybe have some idea.
It also gets you a little bit into state management as well, because you need different components may need to know what music's playing or isn't playing or the current state there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's the important part because yeah, the global state management is very important. Like at the same time, when I click a button, it will trigger all of the steps like on different component, and it's very deep in the tree. So when we have a state management, is really good, and you can see it as well. So hopefully, and then yeah, like doing a clone is saving a lot of time on thinking about what is gonna be something that I'm gonna build or how is it gonna look because I'm just using it every day, so I know exactly what I need to build and the design I can reuse a bit if it's a web version. But if it's desktop version, that's fine. We can look into it and then based on our CS skill, we can still can bring it to life. But it is not, yeah, it is saving a lot of time to be honest. Otherwise, you will need to do some design. You need some kind of Figma or Photoshop skill, and then still need to do all of the HTML stuff, which would take another few weeks, I would say. So saving some time, I think is good because I'm not doing a full-time job for Spotify though. Thanks for understanding. And the
Hey, Chung,
another reason. Go ahead.
Charlie has a really good question in the chat. How do you take on a big project like this and not get overwhelmed or burned out after a couple of days? Like, how do you find the time to work on this in addition to everything else that you have to do? Which I think is a great question because I wonder that too. How do you find the time to do this?
So I think the difficult time is always the first few weeks when you started because it is just empty. It is like you create a workspace with an workspace and that's it. I'll just create it and then I start to try some kind of command to create a library. I start to talk to Joe and what is the best practice to put all of them together. But then it's really struggling. It's like I think to be able to display a playlist and to be able to play a song take me 3 weeks, and then the rest of the code I wrote with like 10 days, something. So I'll just try to find the time, maybe sometime in the morning where I feel like I was more productive, and I'll just try to put some hour in the morning or maybe after the working hour, maybe 1 or 2 hours. And if I feel like very tired, I just give it 1 or 2 days is fine. And when you see that there's a pieces coming together, like the Lego block, when you see to have a shape, it's gonna be finished. Yeah, you just have the motivation more comparing to the first few weeks.
Yeah, that's I totally agree. I experienced that same thing, right? That initial point when you're trying to figure out naming conventions and set up of your project and architecture, it's kind of like a drag, right? For me, it feels like, oh man, this is hard to get through, and it's hard to get excited about that, right? But once, like you said, once you start seeing things on the screen and you start seeing things happen, then that triggers that excitement, and you're like, I just want to do more, right? I'm excited to do more. And then I imagine when you get to like the visualization thing, then you're just like, I can't sleep. I just wanted to make this happen because it's so cool.
Yeah. I want to share about it, but the visualization. I didn't write the code. I'll just go to the code pen, look into the into the free example. I just take one of the function, but to make sense of the API from Spotify and bring it into the visualization, it take me like a week because I don't understand the data. It's difficult. Yeah, basically. Yeah, I just mentioned I wanted to experiment the NX workspace, and then the last one is like when I released it, it was like you can only load on of your save playlist and play it, and that's it. It is like the first version, nothing. And so I just create a few live streams so that I can just continue writing code. And I think when I write code with some live audience, maybe they can like see me writing code and then they can solve what I did wrongly because I just do it for 4 years. So maybe there's something I do wrong that I just didn't realize. Or if they see some benefit from it, that's good for both of us. So yeah, it is, how say, a win-win situation. And yeah, I think that's all of the reason. And let's go to the next step. The tech stack is going to be similar. I'll do Angular. I do NX workspace. I have NGIs and then Tailwind and then NGJoro for some kind of component, which is a bit structured. Tailwind is more like for utility layout where you just wanted to do something quick, but I cannot build everything with Tailwind. So NGJoro come out with all of this model tooltip, drop down and everything. So I just use NGJoro as a sign up, and So the question. So, what is the logo in the center?
I feel like you asked us a logo question last time you were here, huh?
No, I didn't. Not me. Yeah.
It looks a little bit like ThoughtRam, but it's not ThoughtRam.
I
And
think
it's not
Chow know about
Tailwind.
it very well.
Yeah.
Is that like some machine learning something?
No. It's, Chow, you can answer it. Feel free, man.
It is the Nginx logo.
Oh.
Yep. So I was utilizing some library from Nginx. So they has a library to manage your icon. So you just copy in the svg, and then it will just generate the TS file, and then you can just import it into your code, which is quite handy. So you don't have to do all of this static as svg and then take the path and do an image or something. You
So
can
is
just
that
use
where
it
you
as an
got
icon.
things like the skeleton content loader as well from Nginx?
Oh, this one. I used it before on Jira clone, but this time I tried the Nginx skeleton component. So they have it new. Yeah.
Nice.
So that is something new I try out. Wow. It's
Chow,
like
did you
we
want to
have-
add something? I saw you
Yep.
had
Sorry.
your hand up a minute ago.
I have a question. So Trung, the last time you came on and you have the Jira clone, you use Akita. This time you switch. You use NGRX.
Yep.
Is there a reason why you make that switch?
There's a lot of reasons why. I think the time when I trying Akita on Jira clone, because it is quite a small project and there's no actual like connection, like communicate to the server, like communicate to the third party. So I feel it's very handy. But I think when we start to have a lot of communication with the server and the app is getting bigger, it is going to be a bit difficult for Akita to grow. And then also I was influenced from somebody that wearing a hat doing the NGI component store a lot. So I wanted to try it out, and I think the last time I was doing NGI was like 2 years ago. So I know they has a lot of new syntax, like all of this create action instead of you need to write your own class and then the expose your own type and then do the squid case and discrimination whatever. So now it is feel like I wanted to try it out again, and so far it's been really like working well together. So all of the pieces from NGI work really well. Yeah, that's the reason, most of the reason. And I mean, I was saying in the past live stream about NGI was like there's a lot of boilerplate and it's going to be a bit difficult for the team member. So it really depends on your situation. So for me, because it is just a one-man project, so I can do whatever I want. But if we need to consider putting it into a team where maybe there's a lot of junior engineer, and then we need to comparing between Akita and NGX, maybe I still choose Akita for the small project, so that the guy will have a easier start, and NGX will be when they come to a next level, then we can introduce NGX. Otherwise, it's going to be very overwhelmed with Angular and NGX at the same time at the beginning. Hi, Brian.
He's so cute.
Hi.
I would just play with him all the time. I don't know how you get work done. So cute. Can you just hold him up closer to the camera, Chow? I don't want to be a weirdo, but he's just so far away from the camera.
I'll try. So here he is.
Oh.
Yeah. What next time we want to meet his mother, because she always hands him to you. She might not feel like being on camera, but just so we want to meet her. We just want to next time just so she should say hi. Just tell her, will you? Sorry, Chung.
Oh no! I saw
cannot ignore
Brian's-
the baby. I was like, oh my god.
I think it's fun though. It is like the centralized places where you have baby. Everything else, outside.
Yeah.
The baby is the central. For me, it's the same. In the future.
Keep us posted.
Okay, sure. I'll do. So like I mentioned, I wanted to try out NX, so maybe you guys heard about NX before. So in the short term, it is like a suite of dev tool, and then you can help you to develop the application. It could be Angular, it could be a lot more inside. So it works especially very well for monorepo. So we will look into it just in a minute. And NX also has a lot of support for tooling like the modern one, like Jet is going to be replacing Karma, and then Cypress is more like replaced for Protractor, and ESLint is the replacement for TSLint basically. So when you have NX, you will reduce some time on the configuration part, I think. But just for your information, it is my first project working with NX. So of course, there's maybe mistake on the way that I didn't realize. So take my word into your into the stone, yeah. Take it with what? How to say it? Take it with a grain of salt, right? Is it?
Yeah, that's
Grain of salt. Yeah.
Yeah. So the monorepo is basically a grid repository where you put just everything, like multiple projects into it, and yeah, basically it is in the short term. But yeah, of course, there's a reason for it. So we will look into it. But you might ask, is it going to be the same when you put everything into a single folder? Like you have the API, it is going to be a separate folder, and then you have the web app, it's going to be separate folder. It's going to be the same like that. So in the short answer, it's not going to be the same. So we can look into it now. I'll just prepare a very hypothetical like Spotify workspace. So of course they have their own API, and then now you have the web. Obviously, of course, they have the desktop, but then we just talk about the web then, because it under the hood is going to be the same. And the mobile is going to be a bit different. And obviously, when you have this kind of structure and you divided it into 3 different repo, you need some kind of mechanism to share the code. Because, for example, like if I started to if I wanted to put them into a single repo, it just doesn't work. They have their own package.json, they have their own dependency. And of course, when it comes with package.json, you also have different configuration how to run the app. For example, maybe you will do it like npm start, but maybe someone they like npm run dev, npm serve, for example. So it's not going to be consistent. So of course, there's not going to be the same. If you put everything into the single folder without any sharing structure, let's put it that way. And if you wanted to share a piece of code, and for example, we have a data model of the album on the API, and when we write TypeScript, we wanted to have the type in the web app as well. So you wanted to have the type in the web app, but you don't have anything to share. And what I did before, I'll just copy it over and over and over. So if you need an album data model in the mobile, you can just copy it. So imagine you have a lot of clients which is talking to the same API, and for the new client, you will need to replicate the process. And if one day there's one chain on the server, it's going to be massive chain on the client, because there's a lot of replicates. So you need to talk to multiple teams, and then when the server is released, we need to make sure all of the client also need to be updated to the latest version. Otherwise, it's going to break, for example. So we need some kind of mechanism to share it, and putting them into the same folder without anything, it still doesn't solve the problem. So what I did it's not what I did. It is what we did in my current company as well. Or in this situation, let's say they has a packet in the middle. They call this SDK. So you can publish the packet to npm. It could be private, it could be public. It really depends on your need. So in the SDK, you can start to store all of the share functionality. Let's say data model is the first thing, or maybe some utility function. And when you talk to a same endpoint, you can start to put the same endpoint into the same SDK. Maybe, it is just example. So I never really. I have tried it in the company project, and so far it worked pretty well. So we also have the web app, we have the mobile app, and we have the SDK in the middle layer. And but what we need to do is instead of replicating the data on multiple different places on the client, we will do it in the two places. So the first one is obviously in the core, like on the API, and the second one obviously it needs to be in the SDK. So later on we can publish the SDK to npm, and then we can start to importing all of those pieces together from the SDK itself. So if you need to change anything, you only need to change on the SDK itself, and then you release the new version, and then all of the client, when they just need to upgrade the SDK, and then that's it. No need to do all of this manual work. I think it's pretty, so far it's worked pretty well, but then yeah, of course, I still don't feel it very efficient, because now the SDK team is a different team, and then the web app is different team, and then the mobile app is different team. So I can also do the change for the SDK, but then usually, single responsibility. So I'll just communicate and they can do it. So there's always the gap between the time to talk to them. So that brings me to the last thing when we have the NX workspace, and it might look a bit bigger, complicated, but the idea here is you put all of the project in the same in the same repo, and then NX will has the structure that's supporting you on the code reusing. Like you can share the code easier by trying to put things into the library folder, and the application of course is still inside the app, because individual app is going to be on their own world, but library is the place for you to putting the reusability functionality, like component, like utility function, or like this interface. So now when I have the monorepo, I'll just put a share folder, and then I can just have the interface library, and then I can just import it from other components, like from API as well, from the core as well. I also import it from the share. Instead of writing it inside the core, I'll just import it from this one, this share thing. So now we can consider like a single source of truth for the data model. So if you need to make any change, of course, on one single commit is going to be big, but all the change is there, so you don't worry about there's a mismatch between different clients and stuff, I would say. So again, it is still my example. Okay, so in reality, there might be, of course, there's a different problem will come out when we have monorepo, but when we can talk about it in just a few minutes, and then if Joe had any input, we can also discuss about it. Oh, it comes to the conclusion. So with the monorepo, when you have only one package.json and package log and all set of the single dependency, it is easier when we want to upgrade it. So if we wanted to say like you have two web app, like maybe the client facing and then the admin portal, and all of them is running on Angular. So when we want to upgrade it, we can just do all of them in one shot to Angular 12. If it's rollout, so we don't need to do it like in small pieces, for example. And sharing code is easy, like when we just extract them into the library, and then the share code is going to be easier without any step involved, like publishing to npm and stuff. And the collaboration is easy, like when you have only package.json file, and NX come with a set of commands to run different projects. So you just need to know the syntax, and then you can just follow the same pattern to run a different application, let's say. Okay, it is too, I'll say it's quite, it is too a lot of text. So let's see in action how it looks. So with NX, they on top of it, they provide something else. Like the first one is the command execution. So when you change something, they has the NX workspace can detect by, like when you change a component inside a library, they can detect where it has been imported and which part need to be rebuilt. So instead of rebuilding the whole application, they can just build the affected one, and you can look it just in the second. Show me the dependency graph before when you do the live stream. So I'll show you guys. And they has the local the caching mechanism, which is very powerful and easier when we look into it. And the code generation, I never tried it out myself, but for example, you need to generate some kind of, there's a module with a set of components like schematic, so you can just do your own custom schematic thing. instead of writing a README with a lot of manual steps, and NX will just pick up the command and then it just run it for you. So let's look at something practical then. So that's the affected command, which is pretty powerful. And if you look into the code, so that is how the structure of the Spotify look like. Let me just undo it. So on the left side, like I mentioned, there's an app folder, and also there's a library folder, and of course there's only a single set of package thing. And on the left, just the high potential thing. It could be API, mobile, and share and everything. In the app, it's going to be the same, but sorry. But for now, there's only thing inside the Angular Spotify application. And let's say I wanted to make change on the play button. I think play button component. I'll just put something in. Is pause, which is a boolean. Then it need to be declared, so I need to put the exclamation mark. And I can just run the command to see. I just run it already, but just do it again. So really affected, and then there's a dependency graph. So NX will generate some kind of the dependency of the project for you. So that the small pieces here is the one that I changed. And by changing this UI play button, it is gonna change this. I mean, it's gonna be imported like elsewhere. And then in order to review the application, you need to review all of this module. And you configure the CI to only view the affected affected chain, it's going to be very efficient because it doesn't need to review all of the stuff that it doesn't need to do. Like at the moment, I still configure the Spotify on Netlify to review the whole thing. But yeah, think about like in the enterprise world, there's like 5,000 components, and then you just change a few places, the deployment time is going to be reduced a lot. And this is the first one. The deployment time I will just mention was more related to one of the features that they call the NX Cloud, because I think they need to store something on the server to catch the artifact. Like when you build the stuff, you have your own JavaScript and CSS and HTML, and then they need to store it somewhere so that in the future they know that when you are triggering the build, they need to comparing with the previous one, and then take the most the one that they need to build. So that is how it's looked on the NX Cloud. So they say by using NX Cloud, I save 50 minutes, like 51 minutes of build time. What does it mean? It is like when I just update the README, for example, I just add a new photo into the README that I push to Netlify. It will still pick up the commit, and then it will still build it. But because I just didn't change anything on the code, like I didn't change package.json, I didn't change any TS file, it actually doesn't really have to build the whole thing again. And what you can see on the Netlify is like, I'll just show you. So on yesterday, I added a commit to add a screenshot. And it was like yesterday at 11 a.m. And then when you look into the console, you will see that when I run the Spotify build production, the whole thing will retrieve from the cache. So it saved me at least 2 minutes of build time. It's just saving. So because Spotify is very small, so you can see how it's gonna how effective it is in the big application. So Victor was sharing an image that could help to reduce that at least like 900 hours or something. But okay, you need to pay for it, so be careful. Yeah, so it's not free. It is good. It is very useful, but it's not free. So I just wanted to make it very clear. And I think that is mostly about NX. And of course, when you use monorepo, everything will inside the same inside a single repo. So there must be a standard way for people to communicate, because the commit now, it needs to be pushed to the same thing. So it could come from different projects. So maybe we need to have a set of standard commit message, a brand name, so that it's easier to track. And the versioning is also something you need to consider, because when you just release the mobile app and then because you have only one package JSON, so probably it's going to increase the version for other things as well. So is it going to be a good thing for you? All of that needs to be considered, take into the consideration. And boilerplate is obviously because we need to generate a lot of library. So when you do just a small commit, like small code chain, and then it is a library, it could bring in a lot of change, which is just a configuration, tsconfig, ESLint, and all of this boilerplate. Yeah, I'm done with annex and monorepo. Yeah. Quite a long section, so now it's time to talk. Joe, you have any questions?
I don't. It's actually pretty good.
Thanks.
Do you love how he sounds surprised? This is not a bad talk, actually, to be honest with you. I love you guys.
Okay, then. Yeah, but I just don't have really like a real world like application that use monorepo. So what I was saying is just what I understand that it can bring to the picture. But maybe in practical, there's a lot more issues that's coming. So if anyone have anything to share, yeah, feel free, because I don't also have a lot of experience with it. So the principle when I build Spotify, sorry, just we're about to say Jira clone. It's like I was trying to use on push everywhere. So I actually not trying. I was doing on push everywhere, like to save a lot of redundant change detection check. And because we have the NGRX store, so all of the selector is exposing observable. So I was just using either async pipe, or in some situation I will use the there's the directive from and also from NGRX to have you take out the data from observable and use it in the template without using the ngIf. Something like this one. Not sure if you
the let ngx
right.
nglet, yeah.
Yeah, it's like this one. So in some situations, because it's just a boolean, so if you do ngIf, it's gonna be a bit risky. So we need to use ngxlet. And
so that library also has the one where you can turn off zones. Did you try that in here as well to go that whole route?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. So
yeah, because it's interesting. Like what you're talking about here is the opportunity to start from the very beginning of building your app with the mindset that you're doing on push, right, and async pipes. And then that same I forget what it is. It's like I forget the name of the library. It's part of the NGRX one that the ngxlet is in. But there's a way it replaces the async pipe with a different pipe that then under the hood allows you to turn off zones and completely go zone free and really get performance. So
the big component now. Yeah, I forgot. I think
is this the push pipe?
That's the push. So. No, it is push. No, this one. I haven't tried out. Maybe Joe he tried before, but I haven't.
I tried some of these zoneless implementation before. You're probably going to run into some issues with like updated forms because it's outside of zone. Your state is not being updated by Angular, and sometimes if you wrap your template inside of this zoneless pipe, your router is not going to work. Because you're going to get a warning saying router navigation is outside of zone or something like that. So.
Okay. I see. I never use it, so maybe if anyone feel like to do a PR that using this under the hood, I'm gonna happy to review it and merge it into the code. And yeah, and we're trying to. I'm just trying to push this single component per Angular per module, which means that when I start to create a component, I will start by creating a library for that, and then inside there's a component, and then there's a single module for it. So if you need anything else, you just need to import it. So there's no like nothing called share UI module anymore, because I do it before like in Jira Clone as well. So I didn't really like it because in the homepage, the share module could have a button, a form control, tooltip, everything. But in the login page, I also need the text box and the button. And if I import the share, which means I also take the other thing, which is not necessary. So I think splitting them into different modules will really help you to, like, you need to import it when you need it. Otherwise, just don't do it. And yeah, I think it's good. And also when we separate them into a library, we get the benefit from the effective command that I just show you, because any will understand it based on the library. They cannot understand it based on the component level because it's just too small. We need to put it into a library, and then any can pick it up. Otherwise, it's difficult for them as well. Yeah, everything we're trying to put into the lib folder, and the benefit is like when you need to write something, you can just create a new library, a new component, and then you just put a new module. You don't have to worry about, is it going to be in the share or when I need it in the future, something like that. You don't really need it anymore. And yeah, promote the single component per module to get the benefit from NX effective command, and then also prevent the circular dependency. You know what I mean when I talk about it, but you see it in the real world, real scale. And with that, we can move into a bit of the authentication flow that Justin was just talked in the beginning. So it was pretty simple. There's a lot of mechanism they suggest from Spotify. So the one I selected was the easiest one, which doesn't involve any secret key at all. And it is a short-lived access token, which means there's no refresh token at all. So the access token is only valid for an hour. And after an hour, you need to ask Spotify for another token, and that's it. So that is the reason I didn't store it in the local storage, because I thought it's going to be too short. It just doesn't make the benefit of it. So I just don't store it anywhere. So if you go into the app, and if you select a playlist, for example, you take it, you close it, you bring it again, it cannot redirect you back to this, because I need to list the list of redirect URL on the Spotify dashboard, developer dashboard, and I can just not do the this one, the star one, the white card one. So I have to just redirect back to the homepage, which is a bit annoying, but what to do? So that is the first thing. So to talk to Spotify was pretty easy. I just go into the app. I check if, because like when I have the token from Spotify, it's going to be append on the URL, something like access. You will see. Yeah. So it will append the token in the URL when it redirect back from Spotify. So I can just take the token, and then I will just use it into use interceptor to just add it into the new HTTP request. And that is just the first part. The first part is to take the token from Spotify. The second part is to initialize the playback thing, which is this one. So it is two different things. You go back here. So we always has the Spotify API for all of that, retrieving data, like fetch the playlist from user, fetch what is the current, what is the recent playing track on all this stuff. But the playback SDK is the one who taking care of, you need to register a new player on on your web application. So it doesn't look like you ask Spotify, what is this stream for like stream link for this this song, and then they give you back the binary, and then you just use it on your player client side. You need to use this SDK. So the SDK will do all of the playing songs. So I also don't know how they do it, but basically I'll just register my Angular web player, and then they will get back to me that you register it successfully, and then I will just ask Spotify, bring all of the playback of the current playing device, if any, to my Angular Spotify. And then when it is done, I just can play it on my Spotify. So if you just look into it, let's open this. I think it's cooler. This one. Okay. Okay. There's enough. Yeah. So this is the PWA version. So it looks quite similar to Spotify because it's just a Chrome application, but it's PWA, so you don't have the URL on the top. It doesn't look like Chrome at all, but under the hood, it just you can still open it in Chrome basically. So when I can register the Angular Spotify, and then you open the Spotify app, that's how it's gonna look. It is gonna say you are listening on Angular Spotify web player. That's how it looks. That is how you register it. So on the app, you can also do the same functionality. So, but to save some time, I'll just skip it. I'll just allow it only playing on my web application. And yeah, I think that's it about the flow, which is pretty simple. But just to keep in mind, there's two parties to talk to, which is the API, and also there's an SDK to talk to be able to really build an application with Spotify. And the last few slides was like there's some feature, but I showed you right before. So if we have some time, we can go into a bit of the visualization. The blurry was easy by using Canvas and just draw it on the canvas itself, which is pretty easy. So the PWA I just showed you. So there's a PR coming from the community. So thanks Nico for doing it. So I'm not the one who implementing it, but I think you just need to follow Angular documentation, and then you can enable PWA very easy on your application. And we didn't do anything much, like just change the logo maybe. So let's talk about this one, and then I think we are running short of time, but this one is quite interesting to talk to because how to say, I think Spotify is very transparent on their data, which means that whatever they have, they were trying to push it to the client. So one of this terminology is very specifically to audio analysis thing, and I also actually cannot distinguish all of them. Like I just take one of them and I do the sampling, like averaging, and then I will just fit into my function to do the visualization. Okay, I just show you guys quickly in just. So if you play a song, right? Let's say you play, let me zoom in a bit. So if you play this song, so when you click a play, there's a lot of things happening, and then I will try to ask for the analysis of the audio. And then in the analysis, you see there's bar and then the section. Okay, just let me open it up. Okay, I'll bring it to your
So
side.
Spotify provides all this data, huh? Through their API?
Everything,
That's
which
cool.
is very transparent, and
Yeah.
I think it's very good. So when you look back into the slide, where's the slide? Sorry, I lost the slide. No chance. Yeah. Okay. And here. Yep. So now you can relate between this section and bar and beat and tailwind and all of this, because when I was looking into data, I just don't understand it at all. So what I do, I think I take this segment because it is the smallest unit in the data, and then I just try to find, because they also provided where is it. So when you play a song at 16 seconds, I'll just trying to look into the start and then the duration to see if it's matched, and if it's matched, then I'll just take the pitch. I think it's the pitch. I'll just sample it, and then I fit into the blinking functionality. So it is actually a real thing. It's not a random number, which is just do some cooling thing. It is coming from the data. So just so you know, and
that's really cool. Yeah.
It is blinking based on the music. Okay, so let's see it again one more time. Okay.
And then what are you using for the visualization? Are you using Canvas there, or are you just using DOM elements? What are you doing?
I'll just, like I mentioned, I'll just take a function from CodePen, and okay, you will curious.
Okay.
I'll show. I think it was like a very outdated library. They call it Sketch.js visualizer component. No, I think it's. So if you look into the init visualizer here, then there's a Sketch.js thing, and I was also need to do some kind of typing because there's no TS support at all. And yeah, basically it's just something cool. But when there's a 3JS integration with Angular coming out, I will do a proper one. Which
When is that happening?
I think soon. Tell me. Tell us.
I don't know yet. It's on beta 20 something.
I blame this on Brian.
See, this is another really cool thing about this, having this sample repo, right? And you putting this together that's so valuable is that it has all these examples. Like right there, you just kind of went through it really quick, right? But it's a great example of you need to integrate with a third-party piece of code that doesn't have typing and things like that. And we certainly run across that in our day-to-day operations, right? So how do we deal with that? How do we find answers for that? Normally, like for me, it's I got to figure out what term to search for and hit Google and try and find some blog post or whatever. The cool thing with here is like I can go into this repo and find that code and see the example right there, right? So it's I want to make sure we don't gloss over the fact that there's all these hidden gems of benefits of the fact that everybody taking their time and you taking your time to build this for us. That we can learn from by just investigating the source code and seeing these things, because you tackled so many of these different touch points, right?
Yep, thanks. Yeah, when I was starting, I thought there's a lot of things that coming out that I was not planned, because of course when we start to write code and then importing data, and then I install the typing from Solidify, the official typing, and integrate it with NX workspace. Sometimes it's causing problems, and I need to manually do the triple dash, and magically it's gone away. So it also wastes me some time on it. But yeah, I hope there's few things that you can see it in the real world example. And I think with that, we can. That's it. Thank everyone for joining.
Awesome. Once again, just amazing content. Yeah.
It's just hit 1,000 stars, like I mentioned, but within 5 days, man. It's like 5 days, crazy, so fast. It is like one of my fastest growing repository ever. 5 days. No, thanks everyone for the shout out.
You're gonna have that Drake reputation, dude. All you put out is hits, man. It's awesome. Instant hits. What? All right. Well, let's get to some picks. See if anybody has any picks. We'll go through our panelists first. And we never said hi to Alyssa. Hi, Alyssa.
Hi, Alyssa.
Hi. Sorry for being late, but what a show.
Yes, very cool. Very cool. So, panelists, do we have any picks? Anybody?
I have quick picks. I always have picks. What are my picks?
Okay.
Well, obviously we have the community hangout on Angular Nation right after this, and Chung and Chow, I think, are coming with us. Is that right?
Yes,
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
So we can talk more if you guys have questions for them. We also have Fergus from the chat finally joined Angular Nation, so hopefully he'll pop in, and anybody else who wants to join us. And the other thing, well, we have Google I/O coming up, but really I just wanted to take a moment at the end of our show today and just give a shout out, send some love to our friends in India, because they're going through some kind of crazy stuff with coronavirus right now. And I just want them to know that we're thinking of them and we love them. And so shout out to India.
Very much so. Thank you. All right. Other panelists, any picks? Looks like Mike's thinking of a pick.
I thought I had one, but it's escaping me now. If I come up with it, I'll tweet about it.
Matt, maybe
right.
it was the V12 release. That's soon, right?
No, that's not it.
No, okay. Oh, sorry.
I'm going to pick one today. I'm going to pick the Bad Batch, new Disney Plus series, Star Wars series based on the Clone Wars, released on May the 4th. And then there's a second episode today. So that's my pick, being a big Star Wars fan.
I got to run.
Oh, yeah. You got to catch up on it. All right. Our guest, any picks? Chow, Trung?
I was going to have a pick related to COVID vaccine, but Bonnie's pick just struck, so I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay. And Trung, do you have anything that you want to pick or?
I mean, if Joe is not here, I obviously is gonna tell about the 3JS integration, but of course he's here, so I have nothing else to say.
There we go. There we go.
I'm looking
Cool.
forward to that. And Chow, actually, I think people in India are really having a hard time getting vaccines, and they really want everyone who has the opportunity to get one. So I think that your pick and my pick actually go nicely together. And also, I really like Chung's pick too, because 3JS just looks really cool. So looking forward to that. Sorry, Justin. I know we ran really long today.
That's all right. I think our viewers are okay with that. It's always good for the content. So
I was laughing at you because I was like, you're like, my favorite thing, Justin, is when you're excited and like the top of the hour comes and goes and Justin's like, you know what else is cool? And I love to see it.
yeah, it's exciting to get to talking about this stuff, and there's so many amazing things. Yeah. I kind of wear that emotion on the outside.
I love it.
Awesome. Well, hey, Chow, Trung, thanks so much for sharing your time, coming on and doing the episode. Really look forward to more episodes with both of you as well. But thanks again for all the work that you're doing and sharing with the community and helping us learn.
Thanks, Justin, and thanks for having me today. Always a great chance to talk to everyone.
Awesome. All right, that's a wrap. Have a good one. Take it easy. We'll see you next time.
See you then.